Good afternoon. I think it's time for the start. This is RCOST Session 1, the innovation. I think we are fortunate to have the renowned personnel from Taiwan, which have a lot of experience. But first of all, let me introduce the modulator. Our chairman is Professor Banchong Mahaisavariya, and myself, Dr. Thana Turajane. First, we are honored to have the Professor Fong Chin Su from Taiwan. He can speak for us about the medical device innovation, Taiwan experience of the driving the research policy to commercial. But Professor Banchong going to have some invitation of Professor Fong Chin Su. Professor Banchong, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This year, I proposed the topic that encouraged the young generation to have an idea of medical innovations initiative. Because of the Thailand 4.0, that innovation in medical field is very important in the future for ecosystems. And Professor Fong Chin Su, he is my friend. We know each other for more than 15 years. He is the immediate past deputy minister of science and technology, and he have a long experience of creating the initiative concerning about bioengineering in medical science. And also he graduated from National Changkung Universities and PhD level in University of Rochester. And he and myself are working together as an advisory board of Asia Pacific Biomechanics. And currently he served the government as a deputy minister of science and technology. And he also understands about the hurdles or trouble that happen, especially for the medical innovation from research to commercialization. There are several things that we have to go through and overcome the problem. So I invite him to share the experience from Taiwan, that he got a lot of experience to share the knowledge to us so that we can easily overcome our problem in Thailand. And I will speak on my experience on behalf of Thai conditions that we will share each other's. So the floor is Professor Fong Chin. May we give the appreciation to Fong Chin and welcome the speech. Okay, please. You can go to okay.
First, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to President Banchong and kind of introduction of the session chair, Dr. Chena. And actually, it's my great honor and pleasure to share with you my experiences in medical innovation. And I think it's very important mindset, to educate the future talent, especially the main thing of this conference. Orthopedic in action. The future is now. I think it's very important to have action, for and especially for the leader and in Thailand, how to think the future, how to have action, to follow the step in the world. And Taiwan probably, we have much aggressive action, and so probably and Taiwan could be a good model, for Thailand to learn, because it's so difficult, to link to the to jump to the level for stage, like that in United States. And as I know, I got the message yesterday. Actually, in Thailand, I think probably more than 90% of medical devices imported from the foreign country. And in comparison to Taiwan, Taiwan actually has about 50% of medical devices, from foreign country, and 50% from domestic companies. And in Taiwan, actually, medical device company has export about 70% of product to foreign country. So actually, and I find out the population in Thailand is 3 times of Taiwanese. And I think you have a huge market here, and it's very important to have encourage young surgeon, especially young orthopedic surgeon, to have a mindset, to study interdiscipline area and consider to develop your own technology in Thailand. So probably I will share with you some important message. And I think this one just quick highlight the development process in MedTech. And I want to highlight important message is that the grant, the budget actually is very important law. So the government, even the private sector, the companies, actually very important law to invest the startup company, and at different stage, the cost, the required grant become increased more and more, and it's very important to have good strategy, to jump so-called value of the death. And next, I would like to highlight some important hurdle or difficulties, in medical innovation. Usually, we, especially a lot of issues. So it's very important to educate and learn experience from leading country like United States. So because, for example, the opportunity significant. It's very important, and also we need to have an animal test, even have a good manufacturing technology, even and physician actually plays most crucial role in whole process, and it also involve patent protection, and also the regulation also very important, to the market, and especially the competitive, in the world. Because I look at the exhibition, I find that most of exhibition, the company actually are from foreign country, and probably, as a leader, you may think of the future, in Thailand. And probably, it's easy to think and discuss the problem, for medical innovation. Usually, we must have a systematic approach, so-called ecosystem approach. And this slide just highlights several important stakeholders must work together, for success of a startup company, including universities, government, media, and influencers, and even business and foundations, mentor experts, angel fund, and for venture capitals. So several stakeholders actually play important role, for medical innovation, and also to be a orthopedic surgeon actually play important role, in several stages, including provide many, at university hospital, and can serve as a key opinion leader. Probably I jump to next slide. So the role of orthopedic surgeon, you can provide idea from a mechanical needs. It's very important to develop good devices and serve as a key opinion leader. So in lunch seminar, I think several key opinion leaders just introduced a lot of new technology in the world. And it's, actually, a surgeon can be a startup CEO, can serve as CEO, can serve as a chief medical officer for startup company, can be an advisor, even mentors for startup team, and also, before product enter the market, the clinical trial actually is a necessary step. So, and back to the hospital for clinical trial. So actually, as a physician or medical doctor is very important. And why physicians in United States or in Western country are turning to startups? Actually, this report from Forbes, actually one famous professor in Harvard University, so-called Thana actually highlights some the necessary factors. I mean, the patient and participation in startup actually is an expression of heartfelt conviction. Actually, it's very important role of form of self-actualization, and it also startup. Physician in Western country like startup because of aspiration of explosive growth, and also it's important, for startup. I mean, it's tangible, real world, because it actually is not with a brilliant idea, but rather to take the promising idea to successful implementation in the market. So I mean the business sectors important, and I think most important is impact to our society. It's very important to make differences. In Taiwan, actually, right now more and more young orthopedic doctors, to become entrepreneurs, and because the startups represent a natural vehicle for this ambition, and physician must have optimism and conviction. I mean, startup actually is to apply hope. So right now it's very important area, to educate, to change the mindset for the young physician. And for medical device design, actually, I think everybody may know that Stanford Biodesign program actually is so famous. So, so far, Singapore, India, Taiwan actually joined the biodesign project, and Japan, I think, joined the Stanford Biodesign about 2 years ago, and 2 or 3 years ago. Actually, it's very important to understand how to educate for cultivate the young surgeon, in biodesign. And I would like to highlight some important message about Taiwan's so-called Stanford Taiwan Biomedical Fellowship Program. Actually, it started about 10 years ago, and in the beginning of this year, we celebrate the 10th anniversaries, and we have a comparison chart here. Actually, Stanford Biodesign is very important, and on top low, you can see that actually that the Taiwan fellow, so far we train about 45, fellow, and we also have a lot. But we have more than 18 startup company actually directly from Stanford fellow, and I want to highlight that more than 50% of the fellow are medical doctors. We send medical doctors to be trained in Stanford University, from Taiwan, and total fundraise for startup company has up to $100 million US, and actually the bottom column, bottom row highlight that the Stanford program has trained more than 300 fellows, and also have 45 so-called companies launched from Stanford Bio Design program. But Stanford actually that provide good learning model, to educate future talent. And this one, we also highlight that Japan Biodesign. Japan Biodesign actually, they only have one staff, and they have already trained about 20 fellows. And also, the financial support is now, compared to Taiwan, actually relatively low. So actually, it's very important how to encourage actually this good model, Taiwan government, especially from Ministry of Science and Technology, proposed this program, to cultivate medical doctors, physicians, to jump into innovative area. And this one example, actually, so-called eye sensor. Actually, the CEO is a medical doctor and develop so-called digital medicine devices using mobile phone. Probably, it's easy, to look at one video. I don't know. Any sound? I don't know. Probably how to adjust the voice. Oh, no. Anyway, probably that's probably I skip that one. This also the other example. This one also medical doctors, to found the other company, so-called Brain Navy, develop robot, for surgery of brain, So that means Brain Navy biotech company actually using integrated ultrasound, develop mini probe and sensor, to take the image using ultrasound, from the brain. Actually, this the other so-called Taiwanese surgical robotic startup company, founded by medical doctors. And let's see. And I want to highlight the other story about new startup company, so-called Medium. Medium actually is the other model. Actually, Medium startup company founded by Taiwan American. He come back to Taiwan to found a startup company using Taiwan talent and develop a lot of minimal invasive surgery, and the left-hand side just show that the first case of so-called RCOST devices in the U.S. and also the right-hand side, they also have, invested the other company in United States. That means that the cross-country collaboration become important issue. So how to encourage young generation, to have an opportunity to collaborate with a foreign country. This one actually direct investment from Median, and get the other FDA-approved devices for so-called continuous compression extremity devices, and get with FDA approved already. And more important news this year, I think in April, Median actually, have a device licensed to Terumo. So Terumo pay at least to $20 million US dollar, to Median Biodesign, explore vascular closure devices. So actually, I want to emphasize is that disruptive innovation, that means the knowledge, actually, knowledge is the money, in 21st century. Not from the government policy, for the government policy, it's very important to stimulate and promote so-called disruptive innovation. So with a connection to the international company. So this is just one example how Taiwan startup company link to the global companies, and also with investment, and even the venture capital from foreign countries. So actually, it's serve as an important model. And the other story is about the so-called IRCOST. IRCOST actually is a famous leading company for minimally invasive surgery devices in France. And 10 years ago, IRCOST and Taiwan hospital, one Taiwan in central Taiwan, actually set up IRCOST in Taiwan. I think that's a unique Asia Institute for Telesurgery training, and actually is an important concept. I mean, to collaboration with international leading company and to develop your own technology, you know. And like Martin Connor actually is our one university professor developed so-called minimal invasive. I think that's a computer navigation system, you know, for the spine surgery, and with a clinical trial in Taipei, so-called Cathay Hospital, Cathay Pacific Hospital. It's very the other example, you know. Through the collaboration, it's easy and provide more and faster, efficient way, you know, to develop your own technology. And in addition to so-called innovation startup company, we also have our own more traditional companies. I think that one so-called United Orthopedics company right now have sold the product to more than I think 38 countries already, and this company, United Orthopedics, provide more I think comprehensive devices for orthopedics. And actually, this the other example. And those companies always set up the company in so-called science park. Science park. So science park actually play important role. So I want to highlight the role of orthopedic surgeon also in order to encourage young generation, you know, to medical innovation area. I think the government play more crucial role. And I want to show you one video to demonstrate that how Taiwan government, you know, put a lot of effort from 10 years ago, you know, to promote so-called biotech or MedTech
industry has
in
become
Taiwan.
the cornerstone of Taiwan's economic development. We are facing the coming era of aging world population. Their impetus for predictive, preventive, personalized, and participatory medicine. New therapies are in development, and the structure of industrial development is changing. Taiwan is ready to establish biomedicine as the paradigm for innovative industry. In 2015, Taiwan's biotech and welfare total sales reached 421.5 billion NT dollars. In comparison to 2014, biomedical exports rose 15% in 2015. Manufacturing continues to expand the domestic and global market, leading to expansion of business scale. The biomedical industry will become an important economic network for Taiwan. Therefore, the Taiwan government vigorously promotes local biotechnology development. For example, forming a biotech corridor of innovative clusters running from north to south, including science parks and biotechnology parks as one-day living circle. Establishing featured biotechnology cluster in southern Taiwan, including medical equipment cluster specializing in medical implants, and generic drugs cluster developing niche drugs to upgrade traditional pharmaceutical plants. Central Taiwan will develop locally featured medical devices cluster specializing in precision machinery to increase the value of medical devices. For example, minimally invasive medical devices and smart assisted technology devices. Hsinchu Science Park is the core of Hsinchu Biomedicine Cluster. It integrates clinical need and ICT industry to establish innovative medical devices cluster. Nangang New Drug Development Cluster integrates Nangang Software Park, universities, and medical center, linking medical and regional industries to improve ecosystem and accelerate new drug development. The biomedical industry has established the value chain of the biomedical industry from upstream to downstream, and from research to marketplace. Taiwan has an excellent healthcare system, and Taiwan's medical technology ranks third in the world and first in Asia. This attracts multinational, multi-center trials, leadership position in lung and liver cancer trials, high coverage rate for national health insurance, excellent PICS GMP for pharmaceuticals, and strong ICT and manufacturing basis. With these advantages, Taiwan will be the hub of biomedical R&D in the Asia-Pacific region. The government proposed a biomedical industrial innovation promotion program centered on the theme of local, global, and future links. The Biomedical Industrial Innovation Promotion Program includes 4 pillars. Build a comprehensive ecosystem, integrate innovative business clusters, connect global market resources, and promote specialized key industries. Through collaboration between ministries, the goal is to achieve breakthrough growth in the output value of pharmaceutical products, medical equipment, as well as health and wellness industry. In addition to spurring economic growth and promoting health and well-being, these efforts will make biomedicine a paradigm for the next generation of innovative industries in Taiwan.
So actually, during past years, Taiwan government invested 10 billion Taiwan dollars, similar to 10 billion Thai dollars per year in promoting biotech or MedTech industry. So we put a lot of effort. So I want to highlight some important facts about Taiwan. So actually, Taiwan government pay attention and has been pay attention to high tech and has been evaluated with very high score, in so-called global competitiveness, score. And you can see that in Taiwan actually ranked from 2nd to 4th in Asia. And last week, I think last week actually so-called WEF have a new report. Taiwan ranked actually 13, among 140 countries. And on right-hand side, you can see that last year, according to one report, Taiwan ranked about 2nd or 3rd, quite similar to the Israel, in so-called newcomer countries, in biopharmaceutical innovation. So it's very important, to highlight some important factor. Government actually play most important role to how to invest more budget and provide sufficient incentive to the young generation. And this report just provide, I think, just come from October 16, 2018, and show that Taiwan global competitiveness in Taiwan, Germany, the United States, and Switzerland has been selected as a 4 super innovator all over the world. So Taiwan actually is proud to become a super innovator. It's very important to encourage a young generation and to make a much bigger profit for the near future. And this is also the other index. Probably I don't have time to go into detail. And you can see several factors. Actually, Taiwan always above the average of the world. And risk of capital, even high growth, product innovation, product manufacturing. Actually, Taiwan has an outstanding score. And Taiwan government also launched so-called 5 Paths to Innovation Initiative. The most important one and use the largest budget actually is biotech, compared to the other one. And so we expect Taiwan biotech will have a bright future. And it's very important, from the video you can see that Taiwan government set up 3 science parks from Hsinchu, southern Taiwan, and central Taiwan. And in addition to Taiwan's strengths in ICT, semiconductor, precision machining, and right now biomedicine, we also try to have a new, develop so-called emerging technology using leading technology such as AI, IoT, digital medicine area. And later I will highlight some important facts. Taiwan always follow the leading countries, to develop so-called emerging technology. And I think the video just highlights some important science park, and each science park actually have play different role, for bio-industry cluster. For example, Southern Taiwan actually focus on medical devices and dental devices, and Central Taiwan Science Park focus on minimal invasive surgery devices, and Hsinchu actually for innovation and also for some pharmaceutical. And we also have the other Nangang Science Park, Nangang Biotech Park, just have inauguration last week. It's a very important message for new drug development. And especially Taiwan Ministry of Science and Technology play important role, and to provide sufficient incentives for university professor, even for medical doctor. So, and from if you look at the stakeholders, actually the collaboration between university and industry company is very important, for success of startups. So Taiwan Most also, sponsor 15 universities to have a strong program for so-called GLORIA. I mean, the Global Research Industry Alliance. It's very important, to encourage collaboration between industrial company and universities. And AI actually is the future. So AI, actually right now, Taiwan government also spent a lot of money for AI. Artificial intelligence, especially can be used for imaging, area. I think it's very important to follow the leading, to play leading law, in the world. And we also spend a lot of budget, to cultivate future talent and encourage our fellow to be trained and to have a global connection. Not only to learn knowledge, we also welcome venture capital, have a joint company, joint venture. For example, we also have a joint venture with Singapore, with Japan. Actually, we got a lot of impact. This I just mentioned that we encourage Global Academia Industry Alliance project, and jump that AI actually important area. And Taiwan Ministry of Science and Technology sponsor 4 universities to establish so-called AI Center of Excellence, and 2 of them, Taiwan University and Cheng Kung University, actually focus on AI on medicine. So you can see that major budget actually devote into the digital medicine area. And in addition to the so-called hardware development, we also try to have important using our Taiwan semiconductor strengths to develop AI, integrate the hardware and software together. And just give you some important message about so-called digital medicine. Digital medicine actually that's the future. So Cheng Kung University actually is going to have a new hospital using so-called digital medicine and digital technology, for the elderly. And this slide just give you several important new startup company, in this area. A lot of several innovation, for the future, it's very important to encourage medical doctor to work with engineering, for development of digital medicine. And IP, I just highlight, IP is very important. So Taiwan government pay attention to intellectual property protection. And according to the patents number in the United States, Taiwan ranked, I think, about number 4, in the world in terms of patent number. So it's very important, actually, Taiwan to follow the standard, of the Western countries for IP protection. And more importantly, I think the hospital and I think the medical care in Thailand is also very strong. But in Taiwan, we provide best environment for clinical trial. So this one just give, you can see that Taiwan actually is number one in Asia, in terms of quality. I mean, 14 Taiwanese hospitals were in the world's top 200 hospital list. So actually, Taiwan healthcare quality ranked the third in the world, but number one in Asia. And Taiwan provides best environment for clinical trials. So you can see that Taiwan actually a lot of almost 300 clinical trials ongoing, and I think around 78% of multinational clinical trial, and a lot of several famous international drug company have a clinical trial in Taiwan. It's a very important message to attract so-called global company collaboration in clinical trial in Taiwan. And Taiwan also provide active capital market, so it's easy for startup company to have IPO. So actually, in terms of IPO number, Taiwan actually ranked number 3 in the world for biotech company from innovation to IPO. And it's very important to provide a good incentive and environment for the startup company. And for the other regarding investment incentive, actually Taiwan provide so-called R&D incentive up to 35% spending can be offset, and also have several important messages. Especially there's a tax benefit for biotech and new pharmaceutical companies. We have an act for the development of a biotech and new pharmaceutical industry act, to provide extra benefit and extra incentives, for company to establish. And I think a lot of researchers jump into precision medicine, and Taiwan also collaborate with the United States. We have a moonshot, and we also established so-called Taiwan Biobank. Is very important message for precision medicine development, even for digital medicine development, because we need very good database. And Taiwan have a very famous so-called public health insurance system. Right now, all the medical imaging examination can be checked and looked from any hospital. That's a way to reduce the cost and to share the important information, So, and I think it's a very good step to future development of a digital medicine, even for personal medicine, for precision medicine, because data bank is play important role, for the digital medicine. And Taipei actually has been selected as one of the global competitive startup ecosystem. So, and you can see that it's very important, especially in health and life science area. So it's very important. And so Taiwan most also set up so-called Taiwan Tech, to attract an international accelerator to collaborate with Taiwan, even set up accelerator, in Taiwan. And right now there are several. Probably next time we'll show you that several international accelerators already collaborate with Taiwan Tech. So-called Taiwan Tech. It serves as a hub, for global innovation and startups, to link to international accelerators. Very important role. And this slide gives you one example. France also spent effort to build up the so-called Taiwan startups. So right now, France actually held annual event, in Taipei Tech Arena, Taiwan Tech Arena, for startup company, and because the director Menno Goody highlight 3 strengths in Taiwan, because there are mutual compensation between France and Taiwan, in terms of software, even manufacturing, supply chain, and actually Taiwan play best field test for innovation, and actually Taiwan is a top tech hub, and this year 3 giant company, Google, IBM, and Microsoft, also set up research center in Taiwan. So they are all expanding in Taiwan this year, especially for digital medicine, for digital technology. And actually, important factor highlighted by Forbes, actually, because Taiwan has the best talents, around the region. So actually, Taiwan welcome Thai, to collaborate, to cultivate the talent. And Taiwan also, important message, Taiwan actually provide a very good IP protection. Actually, we follow the regulation. So it's very important message for big company, especially for IP protection. It's very important stage. So right now, in addition to 3 giant, Merck, BioLegend, and Massachusetts Accelerator also set up branch company, a branch office in Taipei. And actually, Taiwan is well equipped, adding value in terms of several aspects, including Taiwan offer best innovation infrastructure. Taiwan has a biobank and healthcare data bank. That means Taiwan National Health Insurance Research Database, and also Taiwan have a leading ICT technology, in hardware manufacturing, in precision manufacturing, and very, very strong government support, among all ministers. It's very important. So for development of medical technology and biotech, and actually Taiwan welcome and the open innovation. We can share the experience and share the risk. Even I think we have a strong capability, to provide and to explore the new area. Especially, I think that the leader, in Thailand know a lot of local demand, local needs. So how to develop the future technology based on your local need. Actually, is an important message, for future collaboration, and especially I think in the beginning of medical innovation is very important message from WHO. WHO actually encourage researcher to develop so-called medical innovation for low resources area. I mean, even in Africa and in the some in a few countries in Middle Asia, actually they cannot offer they cannot offer expensive devices. How to develop affordable with high quality devices actually is our need, especially in Asia, not in United States. United States actually devices in the United States so expensive. So and it's so difficult. It's it's not affordable in low resources area, and it's very important to from a government aspect how to take care of our citizens, our society, and especially for their health care. So actually, sooner or later, it's very important, to develop your own technology, your own medical innovation, especially, to cultivate the young generation to have a mind change, to jump to medical innovation. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Su. Next slide. I will present some of my experience in Thailand. Thank you. Before I, a slide please. Before I present my talk, I would like to ask some question about your opinion. Thinking about the medical device or orthopedic equipment that we use today, what kind of equipment that we produce by ourselves or by Thai people? Is there any equipment, device that Thai people create, such as the total joint prosthesis, like knee joints? The cost of the knee joints is about 60,000 baht per set, which is very similar to that of the 300 kilogram of rice to sell, to purchase single sets of knee prosthesis. Every cases that we operate, we have to sell our rice for 300 kilogram. And if our young orthopedic surgeon is very active, you operate 100 of cases a year for one orthopedic surgeon. And for 100 of orthopedic surgeons, how many rice you have to sell to purchase the knee prosthesis to our patients? This is our future. This is our future. And why I try to encourage is that we are not a rich country. We have to do something with our own. And this is my aim of my presentation, is just to express my personal experience in 30 years. And how can we solve the problem? Demand pulls and supply push. Devices that have been developed, mindsets of Thai orthopedic surgeons, academia and opportunity in business, success story that we have. I would like to share experience from my senior Professor Virun. This is his creativity, published in JBJS in, I think, in 1988. Before he started this topic, he created the continuous passive motion theory, and also tried to invent equipment, very simple, rotary actions and simple machine. The clever things that we discover is that by circulatory movement, like elbow, shoulder, how can we create rehabilitation of pronation and supination at the same time? Very creative. And this is the way that Professor Virun have demonstrated. But actually at that time, academic person, most of the time they would like to have a paper published in topmost journal. We don't think about the business model. We don't think about the commercialization. We're just thinking about how to get the paper published. And after this paper published, we have no any patent, because if you need to license or have intellectual property, you have to keep register first before you publish the paper. If you publish the paper, that means you want to publicize everything that you know. So they can use any message from your publication to do after that without any copyright misuse. And this is the way that Professor Virun have demonstrated about the creativity of Thai orthopedic surgeon. After this paper published, 2 years later, we went to U.S. for American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons of Thailand. A lot of firms have very similar concept of CPM, continuous passive motion equipment, with the idea of Professor Virun. Why I show this is just this is some kind of mistake, misunderstanding for young surgeon who is very creative. For new generation to understand that you have to register for your IP property first before you publish, otherwise you will lose your opportunities. Next, this is also the idea of Professor Virun. Using gravity as a setting zero position and very accurate. If you're still in the surface of the globe, the zero position by gravity still remain the same. So you can set up the zero position by using the gravity, and the equipment will be automatically resetting anytime, anywhere, any place. Very clever. And they will come up very similar. The usage of this concept come up as a goniometer in several places of the body. This is the idea, one of our greatest surgeons in Thailand. And this is my device for reduction of cross-femoral nailing. But actually, it is the improvised technique using the traction bar from the patient beds. But actually, it can imitate very easily. I went to US and I saw the equipment from some of the firm of the cross-nailing set. They also provide plastic device, which is F-shape reduction like this, and commercialized, which is very expensive. But myself using this before the commercial part come out. But actually, retrospectively, I do not want to have any business about this. But the people who have business mind, they can have opportunity to use this idea. Ultrasound for cross-nailing is one of my famous history and also in innovative process. We also have conduct the research to make a software to use, incorporate with the ultrasound equipment to eliminate the something that distort of the resolutions. And we also have a good resolution for using of the ultrasound assist cross-femoral nailing. But actually, it's not commercialized. It's come only the prototype and fade off. This is almost 25 years already. Small lot external fixator. I carry out the research together with Professor Virun as the idea of small lot external fixator, and won the awards from the Research Council also, but no commercialization because no one would like to use it. And Professor Virun also have the idea to create rotation movement of the knee joints of the above knee prosthesis, so that in our culture that the patient can sit down and using internal rotate of the knee during sitting on the floor. But the model that Professor Virun is a little bit quite awesome. And Orthobox, for a few years later, they also developed some kind of orthosis, AK prosthesis that can have such kind of mechanism. What I would like to say is that we are not stand still. We think about our demand for the patients. We think about how to develop better orthosis or above knee prosthesis. But actually, we have no one to support for the commercialization or equipment to be manufactured in proper way. Thana prosthesis from Professor Totsat. This is 36 years. Professor Totsat presented about Thana prosthesis during my residencyship. At that time, by handmade, And he is the one of pioneer for talus prosthesis. Our people is not, we are we have a lot of people that leader in thought leader in several things, and we appreciate about the pioneer for such kind. But how the talus prosthesis not present in the market because we have no one to carry on for the business model. For the technology push or supply push, I mentioned previously is the demand side from our experience, treatment to the patient that we would like to have a better treatment, better services. This is a demand pull from surgeon, from patients. But from the technology, as you may understand and you heard about 3D printing, it's similar to rapid prototyping. I understand about this for almost 20 years already. And the application of 3D printing for medical field, I bring it to orthopedic surgeon and present more than 15 years already. And at that time, no one understand about 3D printing. But now today, 3D printing is one of the very common or popular advertisement. And 3D printing to use for rehearsal, pre-operatively, planning for something as a using for the surgery, like this, as a targeting device. This is from Professor Dr. Sunthorn from Prince of Songkla to serve for individual cases. And you can utilize this technique, reverse engineering, and using 3D printing or rapid prototyping. And my paper won the European Orthopedic Research Society, I think in 2006. No one understands about the usage in medicine. Why I present something very interesting. They raised up my poster as the winner for the best poster exhibit. And Sunthorn also won a lot for this creativity using rapid prototyping 15 years ago that they follow me about the uses of technology to serve in several things in medical field. This paper has been presented, I think, almost 20 years. If we want to have a prosthesis, radial head prosthesis, if you take a look, this paper perhaps published in 2004, but actually the research carry on finished before 2001. Reverse engineering, understand about the anatomy of the radial head. One senior staff asking me about this, what is this paper? What is this? They don't understand. They didn't understand what is this paper. I would answer at this moment that if you want to have a radial prosthesis as commercial, how can we produce the size of the radial head and the relationship between the crater of the radial head in relationship with the diameter of the radial head and also the thickness? We have this information to set up the algorithm that if you have this, you have to have the crater like this and the thickness of the radial head like this from a cadaveric study. But we cannot produce it because we have no any GMP factory and market scale is very small. In case that we have rapid prototyping or 3D printing, we can do it as a customized prosthesis, which is no any control by FDA of Thailand. You can treat it personally. But in case that you want to have commercial prosthesis, what size that you have to have? And you have to have a lot of things to do for commercializations. This also I try to have a gamma nail of Thai and ASEAN people, published in 2002, which is already have prototype already. And some commercial party try to contract me to set up the manufacturer for this. but actually it's not come out because of it is not meet the GMP. And we have no any business model to carry on. And it's just stopped as a prototype only. And 2 years later, Gamma AP come out, very similar prototype like our study group. We lost a lot of opportunity almost 20 years ago. But actually, I would like to express my experience to new generation. You have more opportunity than myself and our team. So don't repeat the mistake. And we have infrastructure in Thailand. And government now try to encourage. The Science Technology Minister try to encourage medical hub, medical technology, try to support several things, granting, and also encourage the private sector to support about the medical equipment. For customized prosthesis is very easy because it's not commercialized. You produce it to serve your patients. So no need to register to FDA, to Thailand. You take care only single person that you treat. It's different entity, different story of your innovations. Customized processes in tumor section, tumor surgery. Ajahn Piya may understand. No need to register for FDA in Thailand. You have the anatomy contour. You have CD database. You can have 3D printing out. You send your data to the German firm, and then they send back the prosthesis according to your demand. And we can also do that in Thailand at this moment. I think the PR team has a lot of experience, more than 50 cases, to have a customized prosthesis for tumor surgery. But in case that you want to have a commercialized set, this is another story that we have to do something for standard of the equipment, for the safety of the equipment, and also any documentation for surgeon to entrust them to use the equipment. This is a picture from Professor Abhishat Aswamongkolkul. Customize is okay, but commercialize is another story. Please take care and learn more so that you will have to gone through. And the success story of the AO group, the above four is surgeons. They were surgeon, prominent surgeon, chief of the department. Right hand side, the above is engineer. The surgeon have demand pool. The engineer understand about the technique and technology push. They have technology to serve your demand. So talking together, frankly, openly, on the table, what you need and what they have. To come out some of the product that is realistic to be done. And also to serve your demand to treat the patients. And frankly speaking, together to form the foundations, AO Foundation, to educate other people, to entrust them to use your equipment, that it is really work. It is better than the old story that you have some kind of previous instrument. Encourage the new surgeon to familiar with the equipment so they have their confidence to use the new equipment. This is very important. If the young surgeon don't understand, they feel uncomfortable to use the new equipment, they will not use the new equipment. Very important. This is why AO still remain. They have education. They improve the product. They educate. They have workshop. If we produce something as innovative product, and we do not educate other people, we have no any workshop, and who will understand how to use it. And they will still remain in the safe zone for their safety to prevent their reputation to be damaged because of the error or risky of the condition to use something different in their practice. Very important. This is another story of Herbert. Herbert is one of the surgeons from Australia, from Adelaide. I met him in 1985, and he presented first time at the APOA meeting of his innovative screw. And he now do not practice in orthopedic. He is a research man already. What happened is the demand to create some kind of the screw to make interfragmentary compression with surgical technique which is a very minimal invasive. But the technique is very easy for engineer to create because it creates different pitch between both fragments that will create during any winding of any rotation of the screw. They will create compressive force between the fragments. And this is one of the idea that come from surgeon demand or demand pull from the surgeon and technological push from engineer, which is very easy for engineer to create such kind of equipment. But we as medical doctor don't understand because we never talk to engineer anytime. We just thinking of our own. But if you have a chance to talk to engineer, they can resolve some of the problem that you want to have such kind of activity, such kind of device easily for him. So let the opportunity to come to you, talk to other people, open your demand, talk to some people that had technology, especially for new technology, so that you will have something new. This also come from MIT to Pittsburgh and come out as a MedTech, MIT, and EX may be expert or something, just to make some anchoring of the soft tissue to the bone. This from MIT team of bioengineer to that of orthopedic surgeon at Pittsburgh. For the innovations, I think the larger attribute is very important that I will show you. This is how the innovation will be acceptable. They provide relative advantage. It is compatibility, consistent value, complexity, which is not difficult to use, tolerability, easy to be experimented, observability, visible to others, show other people, convince other people, and easy to follow how to use it. So this is very important for the innovation in orthopedic practice so that other people can follow you. Devices are not drugs. Drug from molecule and discover, but for the device, you have to have a complex component and design, very important. And drugs interaction, adverse effect, very important. But device malfunction, and the error of usage. To be registered in FDA, they have classification according to list-based. And class 1 is very simple because the list is very slow. The second class, more complex. You have to have more detail as a regulatory protocol that you have to report. And the third one is more complex, especially the implant that have to stay in the patient body, in the place which is very dangerous, like spinal canal or something, close to the vascular, close to the neural tissue system, and also the solution that can disseminate all over the patient body. So they have more serious control. For the clinical path of the medical device, it's not a simple death, valley of death as an innovation that we understand. Most of the time, they will mention about the valley of death in innovation. From idea, from research, cannot come out to commercial part with a single valley. But actually in medical field, there are several valleys, several things. Firstly, from idea, how to create prototype, That's the first step. Second, how the prototype can be manufacturing, can be managed. Do you have the GMP factory to do it? And the last one is the commercial part. So it is not a single value of that. And what are the critical paths through? You have to assess of the safety. You have to prove of efficacy. And you have to understand about industrialization, how to manufacture and how to manage commercialization of the products, to entrust the surgeon, patients, and communities. And this is the diagram that I would like to show that the clinical need or demand pool in the left side, because of local needs, suitable, affordability, high quality. But the right side is technology from engineer part, medical imaging, smartphone or something. So you have to have the team, not just only the doctors. You have to have engineer, you have to have several kinds of discipline to join as a team to create something as an innovation to be effective. And my friend have a 4D for this pathway. Firstly, define what you need or demand. Second, developed by researcher. Third one is delivered by manufacturer. And fourth one is deploy, commercialize. And human research involving medical field, you have to understand the detail about this. We need preliminary investigation first at left-hand side, a lot of things. In vitro tests, many mechanic, electronic. The second, pre-market clinical investigation as a literature review, preclinical testing, and also the report from previous clinical report, and also device risk analysis to provide data not available through other source to entrust the surgeon. And the post-marketing clinical follow, right-hand side, a lot of detail. But actually, most of this is to entrust the surgeon. To entrust the surgeon, which means you have to have a good or competent IRB to approve. In case that if something happens, you have some group of people try to avoid several things. You have to monitor properly, and documentary process should be very perfect. Otherwise, if in case that trouble occur, you have to report. You have to explain that we have to our best already, but actually we cannot prevent everything. In summary, medical device innovation is challenging in orthopedic surgery. Surgeon and engineer are keys. Safety and effectiveness are crucial. Proper design and evaluation of the process are necessary for the prototype. Certified body to approve for the safety of the device prior to start clinical study is essential, which in Thailand we lack of this body. High standard of clinical trial is very important to entrust the surgeon and user. Attitude of the policy to support research and innovation. And willingness to use our Thai innovation is very important. If Thai patient, a Thai doctor invents something, we have to support to use such kind of thing, because we are very familiar to use import device. And how can we survive? It's our Thai surgeon create something different and very good enough and can compete to other people, but Thai people don't use it. And we always throw 300 kilogram of rice to exchange prosthesis to serve the patients. Why don't we use our prosthesis that we create by our own? And we will still remain the rights for our people in Thailand. So thank you so much. Any questions? อาจารย์ปิยะมี would you mind give any comment? I think I mentioned your name quite often. He's very active and also one of the leader in prosthesis, prosthetic replacement in tumor surgery. Please.
So thank you very much. Dr. Piya, I'm orthopedics oncologist from Lersin Hospital. So we are trying to do the tumor prosthesis, commercialized, not just only the customized one. So I think I followed your lecture. So we have a good experience with the engineer. So everything went smooth initially. So we have a design, we have the good engineer, we have a company that have a GMP and ISO approved already. Everything's went very well. But our intention is we would like to have the expensive prosthesis for poor people. For rich people in Thailand, they can buy, they can buy from United Oncology from Taiwan, this company. We can buy from many, but for the poor people, so we would like to have our own. And then when at the manufacturing process, the company think about the profit, and then they know that our number per year is not that very much, and then the capital is high, and then at the end, so they just rethinking that, and then they stop doing this project. I don't know for a while or forever, but at this time they stop because of they thought that if they continue, it's gonna they broke for this. So in this is very important. So the things that prevent us to have a close approach to the word success. So I don't know if you have any recommendation or advice for me for the beginner like me.
Very good observation and comment. Actually, I would like to use Stanford BioX as an example. Stanford BioX actually is a building constructed among School of Medicine, School of Engineering, and one more, School of Management. School of Management. I mean, the business model is very important for success of medical devices, medical innovation. So, because for traditional engineers, for surgeons, we just care about have a wonderful idea, wonderful design, but actually business model, the feasible business model, become more and more important for commercialization. So even because you have a very wonderful business model, you can just rely on certain sector or certain technology, you still can make money. For example, I can use TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Company, as one example. Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC actually right now is number one, in the world. But this one, TSMC only focus on leading technology in manufacturing. So actually, that's TSMC's business model. You just own one leading strength, leading technology to beat all competitors. Then you can survive in the world. So it's very important to add, business model to, engineers, to surgeons.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would suggest this. NUS is the top university in ASEAN. But the market scale, in case that the NUS produce something as a medical device to use only in Singapore, is not a market scale that enough to use and not adequate to create something like that. So the business model is very important. You have to think about the market scale that NUS try to make collaboration with Mahidol in certain medical field because they aim the market scale of the ASEAN country, 660 million. So not just only in Singapore. So market scale is very important for business. Not only the idea of something happen inside the country. So this is the business model that they have to think about that. But Thailand have several factors that cause trouble. We have good idea from surgeon. We have a good engineer to produce it. But we have no GMP good enough to produce it. But this can be overcome or resolved by making partner with other country, like Taiwan, Japan, and any place that they have. We send the prototypes so that they can have the equipment meet the standard and come back to us to do clinical trials. But for the business, I agree with Professor Fong Chin about we have to have a good business managers and understand about the target. And also we have to make a business model to launch and how to. And lastly, government policy unlock certain regulatory process. Otherwise, we cannot achieve that. Especially FDA, Thai FDA, very difficult to manage. This is a very redundant process. The speed is very important. When you're thinking about something and the speed is very slow, other competitor will overcome, will beat everything. So the speed from FDA, Thai FDA is very important. And unlock certain regulatory process. And also funding from the private sector to make this project happen by using expertise from several parts, medical institutions, and also many experts to do as a team.
Yeah, probably I can add on. Just check your population. I find that actually Thailand is a country and can be self-sustainable because you have population about up to 60 million. 60 million. Taiwan only have 22 or 23 million, in population. So Taiwan company always export medical devices. So about 60% of our medical devices exported, to a foreign country. But you have 3 times of a population, compared to Taiwan. So actually, you can, Thailand can be self, sustainable. And if the last summary from President Banchong mentioned that attitude and policy to support your own and willing to use your own devices. Yeah. So you can, I think you have, your country has a very good scale, to sustainable, for sustainability, really.
Last comment, I would like to share some knowledge so that the young surgeon will leave my setting. Once we have CT scan for maxillofacial, the company sell 10 million baht. Only this company have such device. When we can create our own national CT scan for maxillofacial, with the cost that we set up about 5 million baht, this will drop 5.5 million. We do not sell any piece of this equipment, but we gain 4.5 million already.
Yeah.
Bargaining power is something that we have to think about that. Let's say about Da Vinci in the future. 100 million baht for Da Vinci. If we can create very similar to Da Vinci, Thai Da Vinci, 20 million, this will drop half the price without any selling of this. Bargaining power come from the young generation to create our own brand, our own thing, our innovations. We create innovation to create bargaining power. Otherwise, they will set up the price freely without any objections because we have no power. So I encourage the young surgeon. You as a future leader, I beg you to carry on. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
For this section. Okay, I close this section, and thank you for everyone for participation. Okay, thank you so much.